the founder and director of Pacific Recycling Foundation and CEO of Waste Recyclers Fiji Limited, Mr. Amitesh Deo, representatives from Swire Shipping Limited, the FNU Registrar, Ms. Sarita Devi, Head of School, Mr. Rajendra Vishnu Kumar, the 24 Recycling on the Go ambassadors, representatives from the Waste Recycling Private Limited, officials from the Ministry of Education, teachers and students, media representatives, distinguished guests. A very warm greetings to you all this morning. And I would like to congratulate all the waste recyclers that we have around the country, and of course, the 24 recyclers on the go, ROG ambassadors that are present in the room. Often the work that you do, I would call it a thankless task. It is something you're doing good for the environment, and often you will not be noticed. This is what we have seen when anybody tries to do something better. It's a human nature that we will try and belittle one another and demoralize you, but that should not take away the reason why you became an ambassador. Listening to each one of you, you gave your own reasons, and the reasons are very valid. I've heard things like, it's for the future of the earth, the environment is dying, the earth is dying, I want to contribute to the future, I want to save the planet, I want to save the earth, I want to learn something new. I didn't know about recycling, I just wanted to contribute. So you see, your thinking is in the right direction. And when you take up role as ambassadors or any other important responsibility, there has to be a reason for it. You cannot just take up a responsibility for the sake of it. And when you do take up a responsibility, you've got to deliver till the end. And most of you are doing that. However, along the way, you are facing some problems. But that's what happens when you take up a leadership role. You are leaders in the area of recycling. And you will face lots of obstacles, but that should not deter you not to do what you believe in doing. And as a leader myself, I can share with you that to take up a job of responsibility, often it's not easy. There will be a lot of criticisms. There will be situations on the ground where you can get angry, you can get upset, but you need to tell yourself that I just have to complete the reason why I've taken up the leadership role. And that will keep you focused. That will keep you focused. I'm sure a lot of people must be name-calling you, must have given you different names. But take it in positive stride, because they are naive. They are naive. And you as ambassadors, you have an opportunity to change the attitude. You have the opportunity to change the behavior. And that's why in this room, you don't see all the students seated along with you, because we are assigning that responsibility to you as young leaders how are you going to handle the difficulties you face, and how are you going to change the attitude of other students and behavior of other students so that they change their behavior and become a better advocate for the planet Earth. You know, anyone, even the principal or myself, or even the CEO of Waste Recyclers, any one of us, we could have handled your concerns and complaints with the students. But I think the initiative that has been rolled out with the help of Swire Shipping and of course JNC is to develop those leadership skills. Because along the way you will face the obstacles, but that doesn't mean that you run away from the problem. You have to convince people why you're doing it and why they should join you in doing the same. Because whatever you're doing, it is for noble cause. It is for you to become good citizens of this country. That's what we want. Just imagine if each and every person, they stop throwing garbage, they start practicing recycling, they start reusing, rethinking, repurposing, regifting. There won't be lots of waste ending up at the landfill. We cannot continue to create landfill. We have only one landfill in Fiji, which is Namboro landfill. And there's so many acres and acres of land that we have set aside to put our rubbish in that landfill. And we cannot be using precious resource, which is our land, to be used for dumping of waste. When you and I know that waste can be a treasure. It can be a waste for you, but for someone else it can be a treasure. We've seen all around the world there are many more companies coming up, and they are more aligned to recycling and other companies related to protecting environment. And this is it's a niche area, new area, and these companies are doing extremely well. We don't know. Maybe your interest at this stage can lead you to be an owner of such a company. As you can see, Mr. Amitesh Deo, the CEO of Waste Recyclers, has started his business and he's a champion in this area. So this is a small, you can say a startup for you to understand environment better, to understand recycling concept better. As someone said, I remember very well from this group, that recycling is not just picking up waste. That is correct. It's not just picking up waste. It is about reusing our natural resources so that we don't go around extracting more natural resources to make more products. If we can reuse the materials from this waste and create new products, or we can may not create a new product, but we can reshape into something different. So that becomes the real gist of recycling. And the work that you do, as I've said earlier on, must be appreciated and it must be recognized. And today, I'm here to recognize the good work that you've been doing. And I also like to take this opportunity to thank the principal of this school for engaging with waste recycling company as well as via shipping in allowing this program to be delivered from this school. And we have seen over the years that unfortunately our citizens are not environmental conscious. We are not. And to make our people environment conscious, there has to be so many different strategies that we need to put. It cannot be just talk. It cannot be persuasion all the time. In many other countries, is the cost. At the outset, they have valued waste. As I said, someone's waste can be someone's treasure. So they have placed a monetary value on waste. And they've done it in so many different ways. For example, the municipal councils, when they come around to collect waste from home, they ensure that the garbage fee is high. The number of days for waste collection is less. That way, the humans, they need to change their behavior because they know that the waste will not be collected every second day. And one has to pay a big sum of money to get the waste collected. So that's one way of changing behavior. Second way that I know in Europe, they use this quite a bit, which is they have a fee, a small amount of money on each and every white goods. So when you go and buy the white goods, there is a recycling fee attached to it. So as a consumer, you buy the product not realizing that you have already paid for the recycling fee. And once your fridge, your stove, or your computers or washing machine goes bad, the companies will come collect that and it's taken care of because you as a consumer, you've paid for it. So there are different ways through which different countries are trying their level best to change the behavior of their citizens. In Fiji's situation, we're doing the same. It might not be at a high school level, but we have introduced civic and moral education in primary school from years 1 to 3, and it will continue right up to year 10. And the idea is to make our students environment conscious, not just environment, but also they should become social and environment warriors, so that we are compassionate towards our people and towards our environment. But have you ever asked a question, why people's behavior towards environment is different? And the answer to that is, environment is a common good. There is no single owner for this planet Earth. We all own it. And you know, when it is a communal ownership, then the responsibility tends to move away. I mean, there is no responsibility towards whatever you own as a group. But when you become an individual owner, like your car, your house, then you show responsibility and you look after it. So that's why we have this challenge in changing human behavior. Now, I also wish to highlight that if you look at the data on waste that is being generated around the globe, it is worrying. It is a major concern. For example, according to the 2018 statistics from United Nations, 11.2 billion tons of solid waste are collected every year. and it contributes to about 5% of global greenhouse emission. And there are other reports which states clearly that this waste will increase by 70% by year 2050. Now can you imagine, if you don't control our waste now, whether from the consumer perspective or from the user perspective or from the waste collection perspective, then we are definitely damaging our earth, and we will be contributing a lot more to climate change. You already know that our Prime Minister is a champion for climate change. He's a leader in that area. And the little contribution that you are making at this age is towards the vision the Prime Minister has set for the nation. That is your contribution at this tender age. So you are not only doing this work at school level, but your contribution adds up at the national level. And you know, as they say, every drop counts. And your contribution counts towards our national agenda, where we want to deal with a climate crisis, and we want to reduce the greenhouse gas emission. So that's your contribution. And you, unlike other students who are in this school, what is their contribution? You see, and that makes the difference between you and them. Right? That's the difference. And I'm very proud of the work that you are doing, and I want to encourage you that you've started this work now at this age. And hopefully, you'll become environmental activists as you grow up and leave school and become the youth leaders. I look forward to that, because we need a lot more champions. And the knowledge that you are gaining, along with the skills that you are gaining, the interactions you are making with people, it should motivate you to become one, because we do need activists, we do need ambassadors, we do need warriors, so that we can change the world that we live in. If we don't have the warriors, we don't have ambassadors, we don't have activists, then people will just take things as it comes. There's no one watching what's happening. And you will become those eyes on the ground. And you'll be very vocal from that perspective. And that's what we need. Sometimes we need people to think from outside and contribute to national policies and whatever strategies that's being developed to protect environment. I started off by saying being a leader, you will be criticized. And I'm sure the students must be saying things to you. But then that should actually build that confidence in you. If people look down upon you and feel that you can't do it, that should motivate you to prove otherwise. Right? And also think that people can have opinions. Let it be. Let it be if they have opinions. So long as you know what you are doing, that should matter to you. And you are here to make a difference in this world. And that should matter. So don't move away from your focus. no matter how disappointed you can be sometimes, just remain focused and just get on with the work that you do. And the days when you feel a bit left out or demoralized or stigmatized, I think that is the time that you need to contact your leader, your group leader, and we can have sessions of this nature where we can motivate one another so that we don't move away from the course. Not all schools have ambassadors, environmental ambassadors, as we have at JNC. And obviously, waste recyclers, recycling company director, the CEO must be considering other things or other stages of engaging with students. This is just the initial step. And it would be good to even organize forums where you can be the speaker in those forums to motivate other people to change their behavior. You can also contribute when we will be developing our civic and moral education for the students at a later stage. I'll try and make sure that you are part of the team, because your voice matters. You have a hands-on experience on the ground, and we need to factor that as we develop our curriculum. So don't think that what you do is only confined to the four walls of this school. What you're going to learn and what you're going to do is very meaningful as you leave the school, because your contribution matters and you can contribute in so many different ways. All right? So with these students, ambassadors, I would like to end by simply saying that never give up, continue the good work, and ensure that the reason that you became an ambassador is realized. That is it. And if you don't reach that goal, it does not mean that it cannot be achieved. It can be achieved even when you leave the school. So with these words, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and thank you for the invitation.
Honourable Minister, thank you so much for those words, and I think, and the principal and partners, thank you so much for being here, 24 ambassadors. My talk this morning is purely to the 24 ambassadors, but before I start, I think we missed out a component. Does anybody have any question? Because the ambassadors had debriefed earlier that the main reason, like John has said, why we are here is because we were going through some struggles. There was name calling, we were told this morning of some name calling, and how students sometimes can feel disempowered throughout the journey of activism. What you heard from the minister about when you take steps, sometimes there's those steps that you take alone, sometimes like what was said this morning, 24 of you are here, 800 other students are not here. So that means you have the responsibility to take this forward. The component that got missed out was if anybody has any questions that they want to ask the minister. So before I do my little speech, I just wanted to open the floor to the 24 ambassadors. Purely any question about leadership and about anything else that you wanted to ask. So can I just leave that for a few minutes? Anybody? Or the leader? You all okay? Thank you. And if there are any questions that you do like to know about the Madam Minister, Minister's leadership journey, or any specific question about her own way of handling this, we can facilitate questions through emails to the Minister's office as well. So my message to the Rock Ambassadors, every time you decide to stand apart instead of following the crowd, every time you decide to flourish instead of just survive, decide to lead than just follow, build instead of conform, you have decided to become yourself. It is not about reinventing yourself. It is about finding yourself. The ability to stand up for what you believe is right and for what you think is going to bring change and legacy. Life, as the Minister has said, is full of peaks and valleys. And what matters is your ability to stand firm in what you believe is true to your own core. The pathway to activism and leadership comes with a freebie of pushbacks, criticism, and many times even loneliness. Many leaders will tell you that struggle and that story as part of their own journey to growth and to finding their own place in their field of leadership. What is important is when we reach a wall that is high, you learn to climb. When the water rises, you will swim. And when you fail, it is actually good that you fail, because from that failure, you do realize that the journey for activism and for the way forward, for the change that you want to bring, is part of the process. Like the Madam Minister has said, you will be criticized. In activism, there is criticism. In leadership, there is criticism. What is important is your own fundamental pillars of your own beliefs survive those criticism. As John had mentioned, those individuals who were part of informal way speaking, two days ago, we had a session, a build-up session where we were trying to address the stigma attached to informal way speaking. These are women and members of the LGBT community who go out and do waste collection every day of their life. They go out and collect recyclables from public places, from dump sites, and the likes of them. And the name that the world calls them is informal waste pickers. 2 days ago, Fiji became the first country in the world to change that name to Collection Pillars of Recycling, CPR. And your task as Rock Ambassadors is to take that name forward. So from here, from this day onwards, when you're finding a voice for informal waste pickers, or those individuals who are part of informal waste picking, refrain from calling them informal waste pickers. From this day onwards, you call them Collection Pillars of Recycling. That's okay? All clear? That is a task. That is one form of activism that we take away the stigma from this space that we operate in. Your role as recycling activists is also voices for these people who are engaging in this space. Your role is also to promote recycling, which is nothing glamorous or sexy, but is a critical aspect of our waste management stream. I hope the message the Minister has given today stays with you, especially during those dark moments, those down times, when we begin to doubt ourselves and why we are doing this work, because that will be part of the journey, that will be part of life. When you wake up sometimes, and when you really feel down about things, you will question, is it all worth it? Is it worth because are we able to even change 8 of the students of the 800 students that we're trying to change? It's all part of reality, it's all part of life. But remember the words that has been spoken to you today, because it has deeper meaning. As we were sitting and listening to those words ourselves, it resonates to us that actually it is so true that we need to learn to change those criticism to voices of motivation and empowerment within ourselves. Don't let the world come and empower you. You need to find it in yourself to be able to tell yourself that whatever the name calling is, like the Madam Minister has said, they're not here sitting in this platform. They're not here as voices to take this forward. You are here And so the responsibility that we took upon ourselves, you sharing that with us. With all that, we thank you for taking on this difficult journey with us. And the support from us will always be there. And we do take on board some of the suggestions that's been made to allow platform for Rogue Ambassadors to share their experiences to other students as well, and we'll be introducing other programs to incorporate those. So thank you so much for being here this morning and for being a partner to this also. Thank you.
Good morning to the Honorable Minister, Principal, teachers, sponsors, and ROG ambassadors. It is my privilege to move the vote of thanks and acknowledge the hard work put in by everyone. To the Honorable Minister, thank you for taking your time from your busy schedule to grace the occasion with your presence, for empowering us and reminding us of the vital roles that we play and our contribution towards the movement. Waste Recyclers Fiji and sponsors, thank you for allowing us to be a part of this movement and to break the stigma behind the recycling, and also to become young leaders and ambassadors of the environment. I'd also like to thank the ROG ambassadors for being amazing teammates and the initiative and hard work that you guys put in organizing the structure and recycling for our school. Finally, once again, I thank everyone for their hard work and hope that everyone will continue to work together in making a change. Pinakabaka